guys, it's Horsey Steph, and today I am back with another Horse Trainer Reacts to Horse Movies. We are starting a brand new movie today, so always exciting. I can't wait to jump on in. This movie is called Running Free, and it is about a father and daughter that have been estranged since the mother was killed in 9/11 attacks, and now they're kind of getting back together and reconnecting. And of course, it features horses. So I'm super excited to learn more about this movie. I can't give you a great idea of what it's really about. That's just kind of like the generic description I read before I picked it. So let's see what it's really about. I'm really excited. Hopefully there are tons of great horsey elements to react to. If you guys could go ahead and hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel for future videos, that would help me out a ton. And let's go ahead and jump on in and watch this movie together and see what fun stuff there is to react to. They have so many cute horses in this kind of like intro segment. I'm already excited. I feel like the horses are really gonna be a priority in this film, which is my favorite kind of film to react to and also to watch, because I mean, we just love horses. When they're like horse movies but don't have a ton of horses in them, like that gets kind of old. It's kind of like meh. Not so cool, but this one looks like it's really gonna feature horses pretty heavily, so that I'm very excited about. And they have so many open green pastures, like all of their horses are outside, which is also really exciting because that kind of denotes a standard of care for horses that you don't always see. Obviously, like, it's not illegal and not technically abusive to have horses locked in stalls all the time, but it is really common, and I think it's quite abusive. So it is very exciting to see that in this movie, there's so many horses just outside enjoying the sunshine and grass. It gives me hope that we're gonna see a more natural side of horsemanship, which I really look forward to. I don't know about riding with just a nylon halter with a rope attached. I mean, yeah, you certainly can do it, but I feel like there are just like 1,000 better options. And I'm not saying don't ride in a halter. It's actually my preferred way of starting horses and something I did a ton before moving to the facility I'm currently at, where they specifically in their rules say you can't do it. I think is a shame, but I think they have it in their rules to prevent people from doing this, which can be really dangerous, especially when your horse isn't well trained and maybe it wasn't a good idea in the first place. But I love starting horses with a rope halter. It's obviously something you use on them on the ground, so it's something they're very familiar with. They understand how to respond to it, soften to it, relax to it, etc. So when you get on, you just aren't adding another element. So I really do appreciate that. And then a rope halter is really stiff, so they're gonna feel that pickup of the rope before you're actually pulling. It's kind of my problem with nylon halters and leather halters in general. You don't get that pickup. So you're literally dulling the horse out because they can't feel anything until you're actually physically pulling. There's no feel in a normal lead rope and a nylon halter. You might be able to create like the tiniest, most infinitesimally small feel with a heavy yacht rope, but it's very difficult. Even with a really awful light cotton lead rope on a rope halter, you still have feel because of the way it fits. It's a lot looser, so the horse is still gonna feel that pickup, even though it is gonna be subtle before you get to the pole. And I always want my horses to be responding to the feel of the halter moving, not the pull on the halter. Once I've pulled, they either weren't paying attention or I wasn't being kind and courteous to them, and I have ended up creating all this pressure that didn't need to be created in the first place. When I ride with a rope halter, I'm still riding off that feel of picking up the rope. It's not that dissimilar to a Bosal, which I also like to ride in quite a bit, but very similar idea. And I would only ever ride with one rope. I never tie my reins around like they have here, where, you know, it's clipped in one side and then tied on the other, because it's just very hard to get that tie secure. And you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. I personally never ever tie it securely enough that if I have to really yank, it's gonna stay. And there is nothing worse than thinking you have a right rein and going to use it because something bad happened, your horse bolted or spun or something, and that right rein just completely unties and you're left with nothing. So I always ride with just the one rope. You can swing it around in front of your horse's head to have both sides. And that gives you enough flexibility. In a bad situation, you just draw up on whatever side the rope is on. Obviously, you're not going to use two reins in a bad situation anyway, so no worry there. But at least you know which side is secure, and you know that you can pick up on that rope safely no matter what's happening. It's not going to come off. And then the other advantage to that is you can soften both sides equally. So if I have one side tied and one side normal, on the tie side, I'm not going to feel confident really insisting the horse soften to that because I'm going to be constantly worried about that knot loosening and the rope just popping right off. With just a single rope, I can soften on the right until the horse is really good, then swing that rope around in front, make sure they're really soft on the left, and in that way keep my horse really even and soft to both sides and pressure on both sides, and have a really great ride. So again, nothing wrong with riding in a halter. I just wouldn't ride in a nylon halter because I despise them in general due to that lack of feel, and I wouldn't tie my rope around. I just think it's setting yourself up for failure. And always wear your helmet. Always, 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 always. It's one of those pet peeves of mine. Just because the horse is safe, just because it's quiet, doesn't mean you can't have a freak accident and get hurt. So wear your helmets. Better to be careful than sorry later. Alright, so I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but this guy is breaking into this car to sell it to a chop shop, and this girl, who I believe is the main character, but again, we just started, so I have no idea, is supposed to watch out, and she really doesn't want to help him, but somehow she's suckered into helping him steal this car. I'm gonna assume that this is her boyfriend. Could also be her brother, though. Not really sure. Again, they haven't been very clear. I'm not sure why he would be peer pressuring her into helping him steal a car. Seems like he's just increasing his chances of getting caught, having somebody that is unreliable and doesn't want to participate in this activity. Obviously, having a lookout, I understand why you would want to do that while you're actively breaking the law. But when your lookout is too busy arguing about why you're doing it, they're distracting you, slowing you down, and seems much more likely he's gonna get caught. Good for her, don't steal. It's not worth it. Not just getting in trouble in the law, it's not a good thing to do. Have some morals. So I'm glad that she walked away, left him. She can't exactly stop him from stealing. She could call the police, but there could be reasons she doesn't feel comfortable doing that. And again, these are kids, so I give them a lot more leniency. If this were an adult, if you're not on the phone calling the cop, I'm judging you hard. But this is some sort of kid, so, if this is her boyfriend or her brother, she might not feel confident calling the police on them, even though she doesn't want to participate in stealing a car. So good for her that she is leaving, not going to participate, and not going to steal that car with him. Let's just not do it, folks. Bad idea. Oh, I miss all this space and green grass. I used to live in Pennsylvania where, rolling hills of green grass were so common. Now I am back in California where I grew up, and we do have quite a bit of greenery right now because we've just had horrible monsoon storms. It's crazy. I never have seen this much rain in California. But it's just not the same as a place that clearly gets rain regularly and has all this open, beautiful space of just nice, lush grass. We don't have that. Even after the rain, there's all this brush and stuff lying around, all these drought-resistant plants that grow because we aren't used to having normal rain that actually keeps grass alive for any length of time. So I'm gonna assume he has some sort of alcohol in this. And he looks like he is quite anxious and worried. I'm not sure what's about to happen that he is so worried about, but this guy definitely has some issues. Anytime you're carrying around a flask in just your day-to-day life, you got an alcohol problem. I'm sorry. Not trying to be too judgy, but you definitely have an alcohol problem. Already a really interesting setup to this movie. I feel like both of these people, I'm assuming this is the dad, are already in kind of a bad place. And, you know, like, a lot of just negative stuff in this movie so far. Like, the girl was getting roped into almost stealing a car. He has a drinking issue. So I'm very curious to see how this movie unwinds. Maybe the horses save them. Maybe that's the whole, like, plot to the movie. Who knows? Okay, Painted Oaks Academy. So this is some sort of riding school, I would assume. We don't have a ton of those around here. Not super common, but I'm definitely familiar with the concept of just a place where people learn how to ride. They have a bunch of school horses. So this turnout situation makes a lot of sense. When you're running something like a riding academy, it can be really financially tough to have horses like in a stall all the time. It's a lot easier to have them outside in turnout. People can go get them from there and bring them in to ride them because it is cheaper to keep horses in turnout, at least from a day-to-day perspective. Obviously here, land is really expensive, so having turnout space is kind of a premium, but if you have the space, it's a lot cheaper to keep them out, and you also don't have to worry so much about making sure they get exercise all the time, versus when they're in their stall, they're going to lose fitness really fast. Pastured horses maintain fitness fairly well with only light exercise. You don't have to ride them, 5-6 days a week just to maintain a fitness level. And for a riding academy, that makes a big difference because if the students don't show up, especially if you're doing a lot of group lessons, you don't have time to get every single horse out that the students were supposed to ride. So being able to have that flexibility, they're outside, it's okay, I don't need to make sure they get exercise today, I don't need to make sure they get ridden today, can really make it a lot easier. Plus just, happier horses, and happier horses are going to be safer and more reliable. Obviously, they do have a barn full of horses, which also isn't surprising. It would make most sense to me that they rotate these horses. The horses go out at night, others come in during the day, etc., and just kind of keep this rotation so everyone gets some time outside and some time inside. Obviously, I don't know for sure that that's what happens, but that is very common and a good system to utilize both your stalls and turnouts to the maximum. It allows horses individual time to eat. That way you can make sure they're grained properly, get all their supplements, and maintain weight, while also making sure every horse gets outside, especially if you have limited space. That works out really, really well.
He ran when you guys got pulled over? Seriously?
Alright, so I'm still thinking that was her boyfriend, and I guess they did get caught trying to steal that car. I'm confused. I thought she walked away, but maybe she did come back and did end up helping him. Bad idea, don't get into that. Hopefully she's gonna move in with these horses and realize that that guy, Blake, I believe they said his name is, was never good for her and was just a bad situation. Don't mess with people that steal cars. You don't need to get pulled into their trouble. Wow, a lot of anger in this movie already. Jeez Louise. So I guess he is an alcoholic or a former alcoholic, and he's carrying this little flask around, just like wanting to drink and trying to resist the urge. Definitely, like, if you are an alcoholic or a former alcoholic, make it difficult for yourself to have alcohol. Carrying a flask around is going to make it way too easy to just take a sip and put it away, except you're not going to put it away. You're going to finish it and go find more. So he's definitely tempting fate in that sense. I mean, it's just like when I'm holding my mug, I drink twice as much coffee, tea, whatever's in it, as if like I set my mug down and I have to go get it. Because right now, for instance, I wouldn't get up and go get my tea. This is what I'm drinking right now. I don't necessarily like need it that bad or want it that bad that it's going to be worth walking across a room for, but it's right in my hand. I've taken plenty of sips now because it's right here. Like, why not? So make the alcohol harder. Don't make it so easy by carrying a flask around. And definitely alcoholism can be a very big issue. I'm assuming that he is not a functioning drunk when he does start drinking. just based on how much anger this woman has about the concept of him potentially taking a sip. There must have been real issues when he was drinking. Good idea to take the flask and call somebody to help him. I'm gonna assume that's like maybe his support system. Maybe he goes to Alcoholics Anonymous and he has a sponsor that helps keep him on track. Somebody of that nature, but definitely take the flask. Again, make it hard for him. If he really wants to drink, he's gonna have to put work into it. He's much less likely to drink at that stage. Wow, I mean, so much drama and we haven't even gotten to the horses yet.
You can't send me there.
This movie is so cringy and so bad. So I guess the rundown is her mom passed away. She was living with her aunt and uncle. Her uncle has passed away, I guess, somewhat recently. So she's just living with her aunt. Her aunt has a lot of money struggles, was really left with nothing when the uncle died, and Casey, this girl, is causing a lot of trouble, so she wants her to go live with her dad, who is an alcoholic and needs to put his life together because he doesn't have his brother to bail him out anymore, the uncle that passed away. So that's basically the down low on this movie. I'm sure she's gonna end up moving in with her dad, and we're gonna watch how that all unfolds. But man, such a crummy situation. This is really a classic setup for The Horses Saved Me, both for the daughter and the father, which I didn't expect. I thought only one of them was gonna need saving. So let's keep watching.
And if things don't work out, I'll come back and get you.
That's fair. So she's gonna go live with him for 2 months, and if it really doesn't work out, come back and live with her aunt. I think that's very fair. Give it a try. It's not like she is thriving with her aunt. I mean, she was messed up with this guy that steals cars to try to make extra income. So, I mean, she's in a sticky situation, and how things are going right now, she could easily end up in juvie, which is not the place for her. I mean, you could see from that first little clip with her and the guy that was stealing the car, she knew it was wrong and she didn't want to be part of it. So potentially getting out of this situation could really be good for her. So I don't think the aunt is necessarily doing anything wrong. I don't think she's trying to kick Casey out or doesn't want her around, doesn't want to deal with her anymore. I think she's more worried this is not working. Casey is getting into trouble, hanging out with the wrong crowd. So maybe sending her away to live with her dad, change of scenery, change of environment might help her kind of get her life together. And 2 months is, probably an eternity for Casey, but really not that long. It's enough time to see how things are going. And I'm sure if the father really screws up and gets really into alcohol again and causes problems, the aunt will be right there to swoop in and take Casey back. So I think this is a good idea. It's not like what's happening now is working out, so might as well try something new. Oh, bunnies. Those are so adorable.
Just remind me of everything that's pure and true in this world.
Oh my god. Everything is pure and true. That's special. She sounds like some crazy hippie person. I need our lives to be pure. I can't handle any dirt in my life. I'm gonna guess she is not going to like Casey when she shows up. I'm guessing she's gonna think that's just the epitome of ruining her life. On one hand, I agree. You need peace, quiet, niceness, and I guess purity in your life. But I don't know, the way she talked about it, she seems crazy to me, on drugs crazy almost. I'm judging everyone super hard. I don't know, I'm just in a judgy mood today. But lordy, that's a weird movie. That's absolutely true. You do have to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes the right time is never going to come. I think this is a good time for Casey to come. I understand why he's super nervous, though. I don't know how long it's been since he's even talked to her. Definitely he doesn't have any kind of intimate relationship with her. So for your daughter to come live with you, I feel like it would be very stressful. You're going to be wondering, is she going to like me? Is she going to like it here? There's that like expectation that you want her to like being around you and you want her to like living with you, but you don't know her well enough to like actually know if that's gonna happen. So I get why he's super nervous, but maybe it'll be a good thing, you know? They both have troubled lives right now, and coming together, potentially they can help each other through that, give each other like a new perspective on life. I suspect that the dad suffers from depression. Most alcoholics, in my opinion, do. So having his daughter around might really help him with that. And I think with her just getting her away from the guy that steals cars and out of that environment is going to be really good for her. She's going to have opportunities to explore other things that are just not so illegal and bad for her. And the stepmom doesn't like this idea, so that's going to be so much fun for all of them.
You didn't want me. No, you don't want me.
I agree, change can be a good thing, and I think this is worth trying since, again, it's not working out for her living with her aunt, for either of them, really. But I understand why she's super resentful and angry about it. She feels like she's being kicked out, nobody wants her. That's a very normal reaction, especially for a child, and one that, you know, isn't in the best headspace anyway. So totally understandable from her point of view, but I really do think the aunt is just trying to do the best. Obviously, this girl doesn't want to leave everything she knows and go move in with her dad that didn't want her in the first place, so I get it. Absolutely get it. But I think it's going to be good. I'm hopeful. All right, and there Casey is arriving at her dad's ranch or stable, riding academy, whatever you want to call it. And we'll see how this goes. I mean, I think the dad is excited and nervous. His wife, I assume that's his wife, I guess it could be his girlfriend too, but I'm gonna assume it's his wife, doesn't want any part of this. The aunt thinks it's gonna be a good thing, even though I know she's really sad for Casey to move out, and Casey absolutely doesn't want to be there. So promises to be a really fun introduction, right? I'm gonna go ahead and leave us on this cliffhanger, just kind of like got the basics down of this movie, and next time I will come back and we'll see how this interaction goes and like actually see a little bit more of like where this movie is going. But right now we just have the basics laid out and just kind of like the setup for everything that's gonna come, which is, it's just a great, like, nice little clean ending before we get into too much and this video gets way too long. Alright, well that was quite the intro to the movie. I have picked an even weirder movie than last time. Before starting watching Running Free with you guys, I was reacting to Useless, which was also like depressing and sad and odd, although I ended up really liking it. So I'm very curious about this movie Running Free and to see kind of how it goes, where it goes. Definitely it's set up some interesting situations, so if you like interesting movies, this is interesting. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It's not cheesy horrible. Haven't seen a ton of horses, but I'm sure that's to come since we know the dad owns a riding academy or lives at a riding academy of some sort. I'm pretty sure he owns the place. I'm assuming, and they haven't said this, I'm just assuming that he is some sort of riding instructor or something of that nature. So this basically was just the first segment of this movie. Obviously, more will come out. I react to movies every Thursday and Saturday, so check back in Thursday and Saturday, 5 p.m. Those will come out, and I'll link all the parts in the description box down below as I upload them. That way you can easily find all the parts to this movie. So much drama in just a little intro though. The daughter and dad haven't even met yet, and already there's just so much going on. So super curious to see how it ends up. I definitely hope you guys tune back in for part 2 coming out pretty soon. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.